Aloha y'all, Daniel Aaron here, your guide to vibrant living. And here's the question. Have you experienced a moment or more than one where you go, wow, I had no idea there was this much love available? Like one of those moments that you could call a heartgasm, a moment where you're just blown open and your life is never the same after that. I'm inspired to share this story with you now as I'm working with a group of folks at the moment, one of whom we're in a challenge together. One of them is really like going after that. She's heard about this and feeling, she's like, yeah, I want to experience that. And it brought me to reflecting on, I think, really the first time I ever experienced something like that. And this is going all the way back to 1999, I think it was, and I was a young man so ruthlessly dedicated to my own awakening, the spiritual path, growth, healing, whatever it was. I was obsessed. My obsession brought me to a place called Humaniversity, Holland. It's also known as, well, it is an accredited university, also known as Hugging University. It's also quite a successful rehab center, right, for all kinds of addictions. And it was started by a guy who was a disciple, lead disciple of Osho Sri Bhagwan Rajneesh. Now, when I arrived there, I thought I was pretty cool. I had lived at Esalen, I'd lived at Omega Institute, I'd done Gestalt therapy, I'd trained in that, I'd done transpersonal psychology, I had done role-playing with pillows, I'd hit pillows with styrofoam bats. I thought, I'm pretty experienced, you know, nothing here is going to surprise me. Well, the opening night when I started my program there, and the first time I went, it was a 2-week program, that opening night, when they demonstrated the process we were going to do, my jaw was on the ground. I thought to myself, holy moly, I am so over my head here. And I'll tell you that story another time about what was going on and why it was so intense. And if I'm honest, I am honest, now I can realize I didn't know it in the moment. I was scared because what they were doing was so intense. It wasn't like anything I had ever done before. In any case, we proceed. Next 3, 4, 5 days, I'm going deeper into the program, albeit with great resistance, as in, I don't want to be here, as in, I feel, I can say this in this way now, I feel my ego structure breaking down, my walls breaking down, which of course was, little did I know, why I went there, right? But I was not aware of that at that point. And so I was being a good student and being cheap. I had paid my money. I was going to try and get my money's worth out of it. And I was being a good student. I was doing what they told me, yet it was hard. I couldn't really do it. I couldn't access what they were talking about very much. And the big breakthrough came for me through a role-playing process. Now, and I learned that technique about how we can use roles and acting and even improv in our life and in our therapeutic approaches, and I've used it a lot with students and clients over the years since then. It's so powerful. Now, 5 days in, we are meeting with our group leader, and our group leader, amazing woman named Lucy. She was kind of like half dorm mother, half therapist. And we're having our little meeting, family meeting actually it was called. There was maybe 8 of us in there, and she's kind of checking in with each one. And then she gets to me and she's like, now you. My name at the time, oh yes, my name at the time was Daniel. Still had a few name changes. Anyway, she says, you, Daniel, it's time for you to have a new role, a new character to play. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And she's like, do you have any ideas? And I'm like, no, you know, basically with the attitude of, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do what you're telling me, but I'm going to, and resist and be a pain in the ass. And so she says, Braveheart. And I'm like, what? Braveheart? What are you talking about? Now, to be fair, at the time, I had long hair, curly, like ringlets, and I was wearing it in that kind of ponytail where it's here and then still long down there. And I was like, she said, Braveheart. I'm like, Braveheart? Why? And she says, well, you remind me of Mel Gibson. Now, I actually had heard that before, that we have something similar in our appearance. And nonetheless, my mind had already jumped to, well, if I'm going to play Braveheart, that means I need to dress like and act like, be like Braveheart. Totally not comfortable for me, uncomfortable. I'll tell you, between you and I, at the time, the reason for that, main reason, was because I still was struggling with body image issues. I had grown up as a fat boy, and even though I was in pretty good shape at that point in my life, I'd been into yoga for years, I still saw myself as a fat boy, and it was painful to me to take my shirt off in public because I thought my belly is so fat. I'm not manly, I'm not attractive. So I was already projecting into the future that this role, that was part of it, that's the part I knew, was going to be uncomfortable for me because of that reason. Now, so I said to Lucy, well, no offense, with all due respect, and not that I was actually giving her much respect by saying this, I said, I don't know, just because I may or may not look like an actor, I don't know if that's a good role for me to play. She thought about it for a minute and she looked at me and she said, well, the thing is, Daniel, we have seen this kind, loving, supportive, compassionate, yogi character in you, very peaceful, sweet. However, we have not seen your real power. I was dumbfounded. I thought to myself, well, yeah, I can't argue that one. I'm gonna pause this here, make it part one so we don't go too long, right? Short attention spans we have these days. I will pause it here. That's part one, and in a moment I will come back and share with you exactly why I knew that she was right and what it meant for me, what was going to have to happen. All right, thanks for tuning in, y'all. Part two coming soon. Aloha.